I don't give a fuck what wording they use, calling it entitlement programs or whatever. I don't give a fuck. This is what you've started. If you voted for Trump, this is the bullshit that they're trying to convince you of all this fraud and everything that happens in the Social Security Administration, which is not true. None of this is fucking true. They're trying to convince you that Social Security is 70% of what we spend every year, that has anything to do with their budget and deficits. That's what they're trying to convince you of. And the problem with that is some of you believe it. How many of you have parents that are on Social Security? How many of you know somebody that is on Social Security disability? And you blindly believe him when he says things like, oh, it's the biggest Ponzi scheme ever. When in fact, it's the complete opposite. How many of you know somebody that passed away that was receiving Social Security? And then after they passed away, boy, that shit stopped just like that.
Lay it to rest once and for all. I told you never would I do such a thing. But I tell you also now, Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. Social Security is totally funded by the payroll tax levied on employer and employee. If you reduce the outgo of Social Security, that money would not go into the general fund to reduce a deficit. It would go into the Social Security Trust Fund.
You see, the problem with you, Mega, is you're scared to admit you were wrong. So rather than admit you were wrong, you double down and you listen to stupid people who think they're smart but may know how to speak properly. So by them speaking properly, trying to twist things around somehow to fit a narrative, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like it's right to me. And it's not. It's not. Social Security has nothing to do with a national debt or deficit of any kind. It has nothing to do, and it is not taken into consideration when balancing a budget at all. And Donald Trump is allowing a South African immigrant who overstayed his visa to go into our personal information in the Social Security system we pay into to have some sort of a nest egg for when you retire, or if you're retired, or if you become permanently disabled. Social Security is also a system that millions and millions of immigrants pay into every single paycheck and are not allowed to collect. When are you going to wake the fuck up?